Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy J Rock. Today I'm gonna be hitting you with a comic book review. We're gonna be reviewing Batman and Son. Now, this is written by Grant Morrison, and the artwork is by Adam Kubert. But artwork duties, Joshua Williamson takes over for a few issues as well. So this covers Batman issues 655 to 659. So it's a healthy chunk. So let's get to it. All right, this starts off with you see Bruce Wayne right here. So he's walking through the desert. He's doing a whole little mission of he has to like repent for his sins and kind of battle his demons. So he's fighting this guy who's supposed to be someone that if you defeat him, you defeat your demons type of metaphor. Here he's conquering it here. So once he does this, it's kind of like a cleansing, and he's kind of reconsidering being Batman. So Grant Morrison here is kind of taking he's kind of taking the direction where he's getting into Bruce Wayne's psyche, and should he even be Batman? He's asking you as the reader those types of questions like, is being Batman even a good thing? Okay, so you saw him battling his demons earlier. So now we go back in time. Why is he fighting them? What did he do? Here you see the Joker up to his usual tricks. He's kidnapping some people here, making Commissioner Gordon go crazy. There you see him. And look what Batman's doing. Bam. Pulls out a gat. And he's doing something that's not typical of Bruce Wayne. So you're like, why is he pulling out a gun? Right? So something fans could maybe take issue with, because you're stepping so far outside of the character. Batman doesn't usually do that. Like, he finds that kind of cowardly to use guns, yet he's using one right here. And bam, here it is. Here it is. He's not playing. Look at him. Damn. And look what he does. Boom. Obviously, it's a done deal. Joker's dead right there. He's lifting him up. And look what he does with him here. He lifts him up, throws him off a building. So this is why he needs this cleansing. He just went over the edge. He became a villain, basically. So this is Grant Morrison's run. So immediately it starts off with a bang, with some controversy. You kill Batman's biggest villain. He's using weapons, all that stuff you don't do in a Batman comic, right? You need Joker so he could have a villain to fight. And Batman don't play with guns. So Grant Morrison tends to do that. He takes things in a completely different direction, and readers either hate it or they love it. It just depends. If you're tired of the same old, yes, you get excited like, oh shit, look what just went down. And if you kind of want things to stay the same, this might be too extreme, too completely in a different direction that it could turn you off of the book. Here's Alfred telling him, you spend too much time as Batman, not enough time as Bruce Wayne. It's like Batman's becoming your real personality, and Bruce Wayne is your alter ego. He's trying to convince him, have a normal life. Like, you're a millionaire, you should be out there dating girls, going to the biggest parties, rubbing elbows with the biggest movie stars and singers and so forth, right? It's kind of like Alfred's always been kind of like his father figure. So this is what we're getting at right here. He should live a little and stop worrying about crimes. And the first issue 655, ends with Talia Ghul. And she makes a big appearance here. She's Ra's al Ghul's daughter. And she's showing up with some writing right here, like a mystery character. Here's the next issue. Badass 2-page spread by Adam Kubert. You see all the bats. They raid this party Bruce Wayne's in. And we find out this new character that Ra's al Ghul's daughter Talia Ghul's bringing in is Batman's son, Bruce Wayne's son. She knows he's Bruce Wayne, and there was this story back in the days where Bruce Wayne dates Talia Ghul, and that was an Elseworld story. Like, what if he dated the villain? So that story never was in continuity. Grant Morrison started this run saying, yes, it was. Yes, it did count. That story happened, and here's the kid they had, and Batman just never knew till now. So he completely, he flipped the game upside down and threw everybody, especially the continuity bus, a big curveball. So everybody like, wow, so Bruce Wayne's officially a father. He has a kid. So Grant Morrison loves doing this. He loves introducing new characters. Because with a new character, he's fresh. You could develop him. You could do what you please with him. And editorial doesn't, get in the way too much. And then the new character, his son, Damian Wayne. Now let's see what this character is all about, right? Bruce Wayne immediately brings him into the Batcave. Another two-page spread here, which is bullshit. Bruce Wayne immediately bringing someone he doesn't even know to the Batcave. And then we gotta say, Grant Morrison's a genius. That don't even make sense. So he's clearly yelling at this kid, like, it's his take on what if Batman was a father. How would he raise a child, right? But we kind of had that already with all the Robins he's raised. But anyway, so this is like his actual bloodborne child, right? So this kid thinks that if he tries to beat up Batman, he'll impress him. He is Batman. Batman, he ain't having that, He's quickly annoyed by this child. And Robin, the kid he actually kind of raised, is right here. He's like, who's this new kid? Like, how could you even bring him to the Batcave? Which is a very valid questions. How could you bring him to the Batcave that soon? As he is, they're introducing each other. That kid sees, he's jealous of Robin because he's like, you're his stepson, I'm his real son, and I should be Robin. And he's making a whole fuss about it. He's whining. He's a very whiny brat, like very unlikable character. But this is a type of book you gotta read over and over, because the first time you read it, you hate this character. But 20, 30 issues down the line, he starts redeeming himself and becoming a character you like. So knowing that and going back and reading it again, knowing how he would develop later, you like the story a little more the second time around. It's one of those that the more you read it, you kind of appreciate it more. And Grant Morrison has a reputation of being one of those kind of writers where you kind of gotta give things multiple reads to really see what he was doing with the story and appreciating where he was taking it. Here's Damian again. He chopped the villain's head off. He thinks that makes him cool, like a badass. And Robin lets him know. Tim Drake lets him know that, oh, well, you're stopping villains by killing them. That's so easy. It takes talent to actually kill them, stop them without killing them. That's a lot more difficult. And he lets Damian Wayne know that, and they get into a standoff. Tim Drake wins. Damian's obviously, he thinks he's a badass, but he's not experienced enough. Tim Drake beats him, but then he takes it easy on him and tries to be his friend. So when he catches him off guard, he throws him off of the dinosaur here. So he's already becoming very unlikable, like I said. And why would Batman even deal with him? But this kid secretly, as the book goes along, you find out he's just trying to impress Bruce Wayne. He looks up to him. Here on this next issue, Grant Morrison did something very interesting to me. He did a story of it's kind of a more gritty story here. While Robin's over there in the Batcave, all that other stuff's going down, Batman's over here fighting crime. You see him right here. There's this pimp and he's talking to the cops, right? And you got these girls here, and they're talking about how they're about to arrest him and how he lets them get freebies with the hookers and stuff like that, right? Which kind of shows what kind of city Gotham City is, where even the cops are like this. And look at Batman, another awesome two-page spread by Kubert. He shows up, puts a smackdown on everybody. Now the interesting part, what happens here, is Grant Morrison's a big continuity buff. He reads a lot of the previous stories and he builds upon old stories. He continues them. Old stories that just never finished, they died away. He brings them back into fruition, if you will, and he continues upon them, So he's big into continuity. Also a way for him to show off to the readers that, oh, look, I know Batman's history. I read issue 200 from 1950 or whatever, right? So then he kind of modernizes it and adds to those stories. Here, something great is going down and Batman knows it's something dark. He's breaking into these buildings. You see him going through all these buildings, right? And look at what he finds. Look at these people just mutilated. There's some real sick bastard, you know, some sick bastard at work, and he has to find them. Once you flip the page, you see, look at the all the dead hookers there. There's this guy that's beating on all these hookers and so forth, and look at him. He's very reminiscent of Bane. If you know Bane, you know that looks almost exactly like him. And that's what this story is about. It's kind of paying homage to the Batman Nightfall from back in the 90s. There's kind of a retelling of it. He adds little things to add to bring up the past of his past stories, just to kind of show you he follows the Batman stories and he kind of knows what the character's about. So if you see him doing things that Bruce Wayne is out of character, if he's writing stuff where Bruce Wayne is out of character, he's doing it on purpose. Like, it's not because he doesn't understand the character or hasn't read his books, because he has. And here, see, this guy catches Batman off guard. He's beating him up, much how Bane won his fight against him, because he caught him off guard. And then the second time, once he was prepared, it was a lot simpler. So look at this ending here. Brutal. He's unconscious. While he's unconscious, he's dreaming. Look at what he's dreaming of. These three Batmen. He thinks he's having this nightmare, and then plus Damian. So he's having nightmares of him, and he wakes up, right? Look at him. So this is where the story gets good, because this is where they're sowing the seeds. You get these three new characters. They're going to be a big part of the story going forward. Got new characters that we could kill off if we feel like it. So here you see he's really messed up in the head, much like Nightfall, where he was so messed up in the head because of everything that happened with Bane. He's thinking, should I retire? Then he just killed Joker, so he's like, should I just pass the torch to someone else to be Batman? Like, he doesn't want to be Batman, and he's on mentally, it's not prepared for it right now. And especially his job is a job of very high stress, so he needs to go on a hiatus, and somebody needs to pick up the mantle, right? Robin shows up, trying to get this guy where Bruce failed. He knows Bruce Wayne is in no shape for it, mentally or physically. Grant Morrison, he's really good at leaving his fingerprints all over a story, completely switching it to a style where you know it's his style, while at the same time respecting the writers that came before him, respecting their stories and showing them their stories count, and he includes them in his when he's writing. He includes little things here and there to show you, yeah, those stories really happen, they count, and he builds upon them and completely changes them at the same time. And that's hard to do both things, to change things while at the same time acknowledging the past stories. And he's really good at that. And here, this story is he's kind of reinventing a lot of the characters. Like, he's bringing in a new Robin, bringing in some new villains, out with the old, getting rid of Joker, bringing in new characters, and you gotta bring in a new Batman, obviously, right? He wants a new Batman. So you see this Batman, Bruce Wayne, this is like a story of Bruce Wayne road slowly into madness. He's slowly just losing it. And when you live in a city where, like Gotham, where it's a terrible place, you know, to live with the animals, to survive around them, you kind of gotta become one. And here you slowly, I mean, we saw him shoot Joker and throw him off a building, right? So you see what I'm getting at. He's slowly losing his mind and becoming somebody different, to the point where it's leading to the point where one of the Robins is gonna have to pick up the mantle as Batman, right? So we're gonna need a new Robin. I guess that's where this new kid comes in. The next story we get this seems like an Elseworld story, but it's not. It's something in the future that actually really happened. So this was kind of trippy. We got this future Robin. I mean, this future Batman, right? And it turns out this is Damian Wayne. In the future, once Bruce Wayne retires, his son becomes Batman. And Gotham just gets worse and worse. And now Batman obviously has to be worse. And Damian was raised by the League of Assassins. So this is kind of a little take in the future. How would he survive as Batman in this new futuristic Gotham, right? This is like 20 years or so down the road. Now what they do here, this the way they tie these two stories in together is pretty cool. This is Barbara Gordon. We all know she's Batgirl. right? So here she's the new Commissioner Gordon because her dad is long dead. It's the future. Bruce Wayne and Gordon, they're gone, and they were really good friends. They had a lot of trust. Now these two, that their children, Batgirl and Robin, which is now the new Batman, don't like each other and don't trust each other at all. It's a completely opposite type of relationship. That's a good thing. When you do a story in the future and you keep everything the same, where if she would have just been trusting Batman and it's just the same exact relationship, that's kind of whack. Whenever you tell a story in the future, you gotta shake things up. You gotta. This is your opportunity as a artist or writer to make the characters look completely different, make them act completely different because an Elseworld story. Where else are you gonna get to do that? Here we get introduced to the second Batman from Bruce Wayne's nightmares. This is the future, obviously, but this is the second Batman, and he's a lot more terrible. This guy's a villain, right? But he's a lot more terrible and so forth than the first one that was just buff. And this new Batman, Damian Wayne, is look, he's just destroying everybody. He obviously kills. He has no problem with it. He blew up, and he blows up the evil Batman, right? But he quickly dismantles them. Look, he just shreds them apart and kills them. He takes no prisoners. This Damian Wayne takes no prisoners because this is a future where you can't afford to let people slide. You can't afford to give them a second chance to kill you, basically. So he gets rid of them real quick. And I really like the art right here. You see all the fire? It kind of explains how this new Gotham in the future is it's just like burning down already, basically. This is the last page. Now this is in the future, and Batman wakes up. He sees this Batman, that other evil Batman that he just killed. He kills him in the future, but what is he doing right now in the present time, right? So that's where it gets interesting. We got introduced to two of the Bat villains that Bruce Wayne had nightmares about. Okay, here on this last story arc of the book, you have Joshua. Here we go. Joshua Williamson on art, and you have Dave Stewart on colors. He's an awesome colorist, and Joshua Williamson brings a completely different and unique style to the artwork. So this, like for example, look at here. This kind of has a painted look, kind of realistic. Then here is more typical comic booky, but he does some creative stuff with the panels as well. Here, this story is about. It's called The Black Glove. It's kind of a murder mystery story. You have a bunch of Batman imitators that look up to Batman. You have the Mexican one, the Spaniard, the a British guy, a guy from England, and so forth. From all over the world, there's Batmans right here. They are. They all look up to Batman. So in their own countries, they become their version of Bruce Wayne, I guess, of Batman. But look at the interesting things the artist does. Look at that painting there. Then you have it like comic book style in here, the panels. Then he'll go to this like very realistic. Then look at here with the colorist. It gives this whole different tone. The colors always give the stories a feel. In movies you have music. In books you don't have music, so the colorist is very important. He sets the tone of, depending on the colors he uses, you kind of get an idea of what type of feeling they're going for. He picks up, he basically is the music, I guess you could say. But look at the artist here. So here he does look at, it looks kind of more realistic. You got some dark shades. And then look what he does here. See how it's a hand? And you have the explosion of the plane. He does a lot of this cool panel layout. He does interesting things with it. See here, he doesn't even use lines like for the borders for the panels. He lets the artwork become the borders for different panels. See, there's one panel, two, three. It's very unique and very interesting. Here you see him doing more of the same. Again, hinting towards this black glove. Look at this this artwork is it's amazing right here, for real though. And look at here, he takes it old school here. He makes it look I forgot what you call this, but they give it this old school, these red lines, how old comic books used to have. Look right there too again. Gives it a little throwback. So he throws a lot of different art styles in here, which goes well with, it fits in with Grant Morrison's writing because it's very all over the place. So this art is all over the place with a lot of different styles, and as you're reading it, it makes sense why they constantly switch up the art from page to page. It makes sense with this type of story that they're telling here. Look at this right here. This looks badass. So yeah, like I said, this is basically a murder mystery right here. They're in a group of all these Batmans, and everybody's dying one by one, and one of them is obviously the killer. Look at this two-page spread right here. This thing looks amazing right here. This is badass. You got Batman in black and white with the white outlines, thick outlines too. You got the Skull Island type of thing going on over here. It's very busy, but yet it's not too much where it's muddled or messy. Here you get discovered that this guy's the guy double crossing everybody, right? So you get introduced to another new villain. He was a villain, and then here's another villain that's gonna play a big role in the long game. So Grant Morrison does a good job of that. He's slowly introducing you different story arcs, and in each story arc he's introducing a new villain, which down the road they'll all come together. All right, so here we got introduced to we're getting introduced to this new outfit called the Black Glove, and I thought the writer right here did a great job of. He tells you about 3 different stories that can all be read on their own, and they all introduce a new character, a new villain in each story. And in the long run, you're kind of at first you're kind of like, what does this story have to do with the next story and the next? It seems like they don't connect because they all seem like they're their own thing and they're introducing their own villains. But all these villains they're introducing in each story, those 3 stories will come together because the other villains will come together and form a group in the future. So as you're reading it, it might not feel like the greatest thing, but once you read the whole thing, that's what I'm saying. This is one of those stories he's one of those writers where you kind of gotta reread everything, and it makes a lot more sense and you can appreciate it more. This individual trade right here, I'd give it probably like a 7 out of 10. But once you read everything and you together, that score would definitely go up. There'll be a lot better story once it's all put together with the 3 trades you would need, being the resurrection of Ra's al Ghul, and then you follow up with Batman Rest in Peace. So yeah, this was a great one. I was really digging what he did here. Introduced a lot of new characters. He took his time. None of them felt rushed, like you just threw them in there last minute. You gave them enough time so you can know who they are and what they're about. Well, none of them felt cookie cutter. None of these villains, they all felt, they all had their own personality and so forth. Kind of reinventing the whole. It's a great jumping on point. Let me put it that way. It's kind of reinventing the whole mythos in a way, while still paying attention to the past stories and still including them in a way. So yeah, it's I definitely recommend this one. I think this is one you should read. Definitely worth the pickup. And if you like what you saw, go ahead and hit that like button. You want to see more of the same, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you could follow up on this, because I'm gonna be reviewing the next story arc. So stay tuned for that as well. If you read this before, let me know what you think about it. Go ahead and leave your comments on the comment section, and check you guys out next time.